Gonzaga finally does beat St. Mary's. I was listening to some broadcasts tonight, and it was interesting, sort of the analysis. It was almost like, which of the two teams would you rather be? Would you rather be the team that's won the two games, right, and has shown they can do it, or would you rather be the team that's lost and has this third rubber match? Gonzaga got it done. So how big a statement do you think this is for Gonzaga going into the tournament?
Well, I just love it. I mean, I thought Farnham did a good job talking about the rivalry and how now it's the most played series in the sport with those two teams and how many times they've played. It feels like they end up playing 3 times every year. My biggest question is what you do with the seeding now with those two teams. Do you benefit? I mean, because Gonzaga gets a win, right? And St. Mary's resume is kind of light. There's a couple wins over power conference teams, but they're not tournament teams. And I said last night, if you flip the script, and I believe at ESPN, Lenardi had St. Mary's as a 6, and then Gonzaga was an 8. And I'm like, there's no doubt Gonzaga would be higher if they had the same resume as St. Mary's. So I think that's key. Gonzaga, if they play like this, they jump out, Battle's making shots. He's the difference maker for me. Point guard position is solid, and Ike is great the last 2 nights. How physical he is, and I actually what I love about them, and especially coming now into the tournament, they're phenomenal at the free throw line, and that's you don't see that a lot with the big men. But one guy shoots 93%, and Ike's up over 80. So they're dangerous. And as far as St. Mary's, incredible run. Interested to see their draw. I always feel like they get stuck with a rough draw, but they know that it's been so many years in a row. But where they are on the seed lines, that's what's interesting for me with the two teams from the West Coast Conference.
Hey, John, you know when I knew Gonzaga was going to win this one?
When
I saw
that?
the line this morning. When I saw that line this morning, I was like, "There's no way Gonzaga loses. They're favored by 3.5." Yep. They've lost twice to them already this year. They want this one. This was a pride win for the Zags as much as anything, right? Everybody's been talking about St. Mary's all year. They've been hearing it. St. Mary's has run the league. And this is a Gonzaga team that started out so well. I remember after the first 2 weeks, Jarrell, first 2 weeks, people were trying to say, I think people, by meaning people, I'm talking about Rob Doster, was trying to say that Gonzaga was worthy of like a top 3 team in America. And I'm like, settle down. Yes, they mollywopped Baylor, but like, we don't know how good Baylor is at that point. So I think both of these teams are good enough to win a game or two in the NCAA tournament. I'm not sure they're good enough to do more than that.
Yeah, I agree on that point. And obviously, I think we've grown a little bit accustomed to Rob jumping out the window early on in the year. But like you spoke to, Jeff, things kind of settled in, and obviously they've struggled. They had an up and down season, a little bit undifferent from most teams that we see with Mark Few. But I also think Steve hit it on the head. I think that the X factor for this team is battle. And he's the one guy, the advanced athlete that they have on the perimeter. That guy's like a runaway freight train in transition. He can get downhill whenever he wants to. He has great strength, really good balance getting to the rim. And, somebody's going to be really disappointed once those brackets come out and they see the Zags on their side or close to them. It's not a game you're going to want early in the tournament. And they got really steady guard play with Nimhard. They got Ike inside. So if those guys can kind of figure it out and get it clicking and playing well at the same time, they're going to be a tough out still in tournament time. And on the other hand, St. Mary's has been great all year. Really tough, rugged, physical team. Marshallonis is an incredible guard as well too. I really like watching him play. I love guys that are, whether it be second generation or just guys that come from basketball families. Man, I feel like that type of stuff kind of oozes out of their games when you see them. Just always the IQ element, pace that they play with, and the reads and stuff that they make. They got a really good team. Obviously, their seeding is going to be lower than they would like to for the body of work that they have. But, at this time of year, you just kind of got to strap it on and be ready to go regardless of who it is.
By the way, Jeff, since you just knew that Gonzaga was going to win the game today, did you bet it? I mean, since you just saw the
bet.
number and just noob.
John, I don't bet.
That's smart, actually. That's how you have such a beautiful backdrop, a backsplash behind you. You know, that's because you don't bet.
When this stove is worth.
What do they call that? Shiplap.
Like
that's shiplap. That beautiful shiplap. Because you don't bet. Yeah. You know, Steve, I think sometimes, man, like I think we all kind of fall guilty of this on some level. It's like we kind of let the predictives kind of dictate the sport. And Gonzaga was one of those teams where all year long, like even as they continue to sort of, you know, lose these games, like you just look up, they're just top 10 still in every metric. So I guess I would ask you this way: is what they're doing in the tournament here and winning it and beating St. Mary's, are these things sort of starting to convene now, the predictives and what you're seeing on the court with this Gonzaga team?
Not with how high they are. I mean, what were they, 8? You know, I mean, that's crazy. But, you know, people that have, you know, cooked the numbers on all this stuff, as long as you don't get blown out and all your losses are close, which Gonzaga's are, you're going to have great metrics. And that's my issue with them is, to me, you're in it so – I mean, look at them compared to Michigan. And how many – you know, before this Michigan slide, they won all those close games. I give them the benefit of the doubt over Gonzaga, who lost a bunch of close games. You know, a brutal loss early in the year at Kentucky where they have 16-18 at the half. You know, St. Mary's handles them twice. But for them to come back, and I believe Fewey's got – he's going for 10 straight Sweet 16s. That's an accomplishment, man.
It really is amazing.
You know, I don't care who you are. With what we have and the size of conferences now, at some point you're playing somebody excellent in the Sweet 16 or in the round of 32, and we're gonna have tons of those matchups again. But no, I think they're scary, man, because you know they mucked it tonight, you know, and played St. Mary's style, but they jumped out. They got the double-digit lead, but they handled things. You know, they have great guard play. They don't turn it over. Nebhard, with what he does and getting the ball to guys, and then Fewey flipping the lineup tonight and starting Huff over Step. He played great. He had 8 points right off the jump. Yeah. Then Step comes in and gets the monster dunk over Saxon. Like, Fewey played his cards right, and they still are scary to me because they have multiple guys that can put the ball in the basket. And late in the shot clock, Nebhard did it again tonight in some crucial spots when St. Mary's got back in the game. So, yeah, man, they're scared. I mean, they could be staring a 1 right in the face if they stay on that 8-9 line.
Yeah, I think